final 3 minutes felt like an eternity.
Offside on the defense, number 0, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. We'll have 1 untimed down.
Well, there you go. All right, what do you dial up here, Hudson Mason?
Well, I'll tell you what, my favorite play in the playbook right here, the quarterback kneel.
Come on now, you would have wanted to show off the arm here, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, I mean, in all honesty, you know, from this position, Kyle Trask can absolutely make it to the end zone. And I was watching the Friday night game last night between Minnesota and Maryland. And Maryland decides at the very end of the game, in range, to not have the younger Tagovailoa throw a Hail Mary. You have nothing to lose.
You got Kyle Pitts at the top of your screen, all 6'6" of them, with long arms. Trask steps up, launches toward Pitts, double teamed and knocked away. Fun play, and the final play, we can safely say, of half number 1. A little bit of a skirmish near the line of scrimmage, and everybody gets in there and says, come on now. Well, we got some tempers flaring over there. I believe that was Coach Mullen, and now this is starting to get a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, Florida needs to get out of here. They got a big game next week against Georgia, and I think that's what Dan Mullen was trying to do, is prevent any one of his players from doing something stupid. This is getting ugly. There's punches being thrown.
Yeah, that's getting beyond ugly. That's another one thrown.
Zachary Carter in there for Florida.
Oh,
this is getting bad. I mean, there's going to be some severe ejections. This is absolutely the last thing that Dan Mullen wanted for his ball club going into the cocktail party next week.
And they are having a whole lot of problems trying to break this up. And something happened after that play that incited Dan Mullen and the Gator squad. And I believe Kyle Trask might have taken a shot late, and that, I mean, you don't see Dan Mullen with that look very often. He was absolutely irate.
I thought he was running out there because he was trying to break up his players from doing something dumb. Didn't want him to get a cheap ejection and be out the first half. But I think you're right, Mike. I think somebody took a hit on Trask. His offensive linemen were trying to defend him, and by the time Dan Mullen got out there, it was a little too late. There's a lot to unfold here, and I think the SEC office in Birmingham is probably going to be up late.
It was going to be just kind of a ho-hum final play of the half, and next thing you know, it got ugly in a hurry. And no doubt video of this will be looked at. Could have some suspended players in time. This is Trask on the pass. And oh my. That is Trajan Jeffcoat on the shot.
Now you got Dan Mullen and Eli Drinkwitz going at it.
Well, I mean, these are two head coaches I can promise you will not back down. Now, that's a good sign. I like to see that. Little handshake, little discussion. Going to talk things over with referee David Smith. The thing is, how, if you're the officiating crew, how are you going to
weed through this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how are you going to figure out all the extracurricular activity? Who threw a punch?
There were a lot of them.
And who's going to be out for the second half of this game at bare minimum?
Well, I can tell you one of them is going to be Zachary Carter. He was one for Florida that I saw throwing several punches. And there were guys from Missouri throwing several punches as well. I just couldn't decipher through the numbers of who they were and who it was. But whenever we get a chance, obviously we'll show the replay of the hit that kind of sparked all of this. And, you know, Mike, on first sight of the hit, I didn't think it was necessarily dirty. Again, on first glance, and we'll take a peek at it here and again in a second, but that is absolutely what Florida and the offensive line were all upset about.
A lot to sort out when we get ready for the second half. The studio is going to sort out a busy day of SEC football.
How about Dan Mullen as he walks off the field, riling up the crowd at home. Regions halftime report here. Dory, Doring, and Chiswick. And so Trajan Jeffcoat, the big hit. Florida thought it was dirty or late. You don't want to see a half of football end like that, but still an emotional game. Sometimes I don't. You get all, oh, it's not social distance, whatever. This is a football game. These kids want to go and they want to attack each other. It's going to happen.
Well, if your quarterback is hit late, you have an obligation to come up. Offensive linemen have to defend their quarterback. Absolutely. As you as a coach, if you saw one of your offensive linemen walk away from something like that, you would be mad at them. You may not admit it here, but those players are supposed to be protecting their quarterback when things like that happen.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But when I look at it, it wasn't dirty in my opinion.
You don't think that was late?
No, I said it was late. I don't think every late hit. There's some that are blatantly late. That
was about 2 steps late.
He just kept playing through the whistle, and I didn't see it that way at all.
Well, here it is, the melee right after it. And no flag was thrown. Punches were, and they'll have some business to do in sorting out who will not come back onto the field. All right, we can update here. They have assigned an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to every player on both teams. Well, oh my goodness.
They're going to be reviewing this tape.
You see the punching. I mean, this is a heavyweight bout here that's breaking out at the
I don't know if they realize they have helmets on, though. I don't know if that's the smartest thing.
Never understood that. But there have been some ejections. We're going to have to work our way through this between us here in studio and the guys on the call of this game, Mike and Hudson. This is going to be a mess, though. No question. It's going to take a while to get all this sorted out. Dan Mullen doing his best to get his guys off. He and Eli Drinkowitz, of course, had some words before they came together with the officials and seemed to have worked all of that out. So let's go from your perspective here. I mean, you didn't see everything if you're Mullen or Drinkowitz because you were somewhere in the scrum. You don't know who was doing what, but what's the first thing you tell your team when you walk back in?
That we all have an unsportsmanlike, and if any individual gets another one, you're ejected. You're gone. That's number one. And you got to collect your composure. If I'm Florida right now, I'm going into the locker room with a lead. We've been playing well, but both sides need to do that. This doesn't need to carry on. You want to take it out on somebody, physically hit them between the whistles. It's a violent game. You got to leave this because, again, to your point, CD, yeah, I mean, you want to stick up for your guy, everybody, all that good stuff, but move on and play the football game.
Dari, what happens if the sideline gets a whole personal foul penalty or an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty? I mean, you would lose your whole team, right? I mean, we saw it, remember, a couple of years ago with Florida and Vanderbilt?
Second time.
They got one unsportsmanlike.
Right.
Remember the whole sideline thing with Florida and Vanderbilt a couple years ago? Cost one of the Florida players the rest of the game? Yeah,
that's where we are now. So everybody has an unsportsmanlike. You see an unsportsmanlike conduct in the second half, that player is gone.
Yeah.
All right, in the meantime, Missouri struggling to generate anything offensively against Florida. Much like we talked about with Alabama early, offense great, defense questionable. What have you seen from Florida defensively that should give you reason for optimism here?
I think they're doing a great job. They created a turnover right there. It was about less than a 40-second split there where they scored 14 points, had a little bit of a surge, but I thought the defense has been great on third down. They've been able to get off the field and much better in terms of assignment soundness than what I'd seen earlier. In the
and think about this, CD. They're missing 3 people in the secondary, 3 starters, and that's a big deal. This Missouri offense didn't do much the entire first half. They got some yards near the end, but they've adjusted all the formations. They've adjusted to all the jet motions, and they've survived all the trick plays. He hit them with 2 or 3 trick plays early in the game, but they're tackling well in open space. It looked like the off time was good for Florida's defense because they're executing much better.
Yeah, weren't sure exactly how they would come out, but it certainly has been a good response to having 3 weeks of no games and 13 days in the middle of that of no practice. All right, let's go on to Alabama.